Okay, challenge 392. So this one, let's just run overflow. We're gonna pass out web data. The input is literally a text file, a URL for text file. So we're gonna download the data. If we look in the output, so the first thing is we're gonna run the table for the results. So with different columns, it's about weather data. So we have station ID, station name, and the state of it, then 12 columns for the individual months. The second part is within the data set, we're gonna looking for some of the answers. Okay, that is, yeah. So we're looking for the warmest and the coldest. So one's the average, one's for the monthly level. Okay, let's see. The first thing is what I was gonna do a download. Just standard steps for the download. You want to always download the data. Let's depends on the Alteryx version you have. We don't need DCM. Select everything on default. There's no credential need to be implemented. Let's just put cache on a row. It's always good practice because you do not want constantly hitting the API every time you run. Usually there is a record limit, how much data you can get and how often you can query data. Most of it is fine, but sometimes you may actually accidentally block your own IP address for the website. You're also going to have three columns. Your primitive input column, the data we're interested, the headers. Now the header just tell you it's good or bad. 200 is good, you can proceed. Everything else, you probably start to think about modify your queries. So it's a good habit to your data. We're going to pass data out. We're going to change our lot rows. The URL and header, unless you want to do additional queries, you may not want to keep those. Otherwise, once you pass out individual rows, they will explode your table in terms of volume. Then let's put a browse. Now, the downloaded data has a lot of things, so a single cell does not display it. We want to have a browser tool, cache all the data in there, and that should be able to see everything in the data set. And we can probably easily to check what we get. We look at the things, we notice we do have a column header row. Now we do have the 12 months, that's good. But within those, we also have some kind of years level, I think. Probably tell you which year, maybe the annual values instead. That does not show up in the final answer, so we probably need to maybe able to drop those guys. In front of it, that's some kind of just metadata. Well, not metadata, just probably your data source name. So we've not probably normal your data for 30 years period. The one below, those are the actual data points we're interested. So we have our station ID, station names, state of the station, then individual colors. Now, among those guys, the first thing we want to split things into individual rows. Let's go the easy way, text column. On our data, single row, we're looking for is just /n. We're looking for rows. Every time you have a new row, return it, every time you have a line break, just give me a new row. So we generate individual 283 rows. Okay. Now, because you have so many rows, to keep things distinct, I would recommend with record ID, just so you can keep track of the things. Of course, for this particular data set, the order doesn't matter. So I presume different station you can sort by ID number, by alphabetically by the station name. That's fine. Because if we look the input data again, hope it doesn't crash my stuff. So the first two rows, that's a little bit annoying because we want to pass out the header, but the station ID, station name is not there. So that means we'll probably need to do some manual process to create those columns. Everything else before, after that, those guys. That is okay. We know you have 12 months. Then the years, ANN, presume annual. So that means we're probably going to have 14 columns. For the header, they probably separate by space. So that's something we can probably pass out. While for the number, they are separated by comma. And comma space, you have a decimal point, so it's a double. So those are at least the data structure. Between the string field in front and the date field you have, there seem to be few tab option in it. So you can split by tab or you can split by space. Depends on how you want to handle. For that, let's actually use a filter. Let's try to handle the header and the data separately. We have a record ID. It is we know record ID equals to 1. That's always the header or everything else will be your data. So the top one, the header usually is easier to handle because even the worst case, you can also manually type your things in. Let's concentrate on the data point first. So for the data point, let me just drag my regex in. Let's copy some of the results, then we can see how we can pass our regex. Turns out this question is quite a little bit difficult because mostly the station name has some different format in the characters. Let's just click this in. Let's select all. Get rid of everybody. Delete. Let's copy the new data set. We do have a reasonably straightforward format. Let's try our best to see how we can pass out information. So my strategy is we know the station ID, station name, and the state. So that's a three separate information. That's good. Among the data set, we're probably going to have one column for the year, and probably the last one, I think, probably may not show here those numbers, the new rows. They corresponding to the last column ANN, annual, I guess. Then you should have 12 columns in between. So the 12 column or the actual data we want, let's actually consider one group. We'll worry about that last. So the first thing, we have a station ID, which seems good. They are always digits, so a digit plus, that should capture that, a comma. Then we're going to have is names. Now the names is a bit fussy. Turns out the best strategy is to square bracket. We want to capture everything except the comma. So we would a plus. So we try to go all the way until you hit the first comma. Let's put a comma there just for the sake of it. Then we're going to have your state code. The state code is A to Z. It's capital letter. We're looking for is 2. We'll see there's some special case later. It's causing a lot of trouble. Then we have a bunch of space, potentially. So we're going to space plus. We're trying to see all the thing to the digits. Now, don't worry about the things that doesn't match. We'll start to handle those guys a bit better. Then we have a slash D. That's probably the year plus. Then we have comma. After comma, that's the main data set. All those digits. So we want to capture everything pretty much until, so rather than have a format, because it's repetitive, we say we'll capture everything until we hit the last combination to as a stopping point. So I'm going to say dot start, capture everything until the last you're going to have is slash space. It depends how you want to express it. Slash space, we have some kind of digits. Either have a digits or we have a decimal point. A decimal point is a single special character. We're going to do a dot, a plus to indicate all the stuff. Let's capture group. We're going to modify things a little bit by try to capture everything else later. The next we try to capture that's the state and A to Z. That should be the state. And with space we don't care. This is technically the year column. Then we have a dot star dots to try to capture everything about the data point. last space, then we'll try to capture whatever the annual column. So we see at least for two of the rows, that's good. We captured the completely the components we're interested. Then I would say, okay, let's look through the data set to see the things that did not catch. Why that's the case? First thing, for the next row, we see everything's fine until we looking for the next string. If you can spot it, turns out it's this space. So turns out after station name, comma, you might or might not have a space before your status there. White space is also causing trouble. So that's fun. So that tell you after the second capture group, we might or might not have a space. So we have a slash s and put a question mark there. So might or might not. Once that's done, that will help us to capture. You see a lot more is colored. So that we that handle the space good. And okay, let's look again what the second guy is. The second guy why doesn't catch. You have a digit, comma. We want everything except the comma. Multiple doors. You have a comma. You might or might not have a space that capture AK. Why did not capture the AK stuff? So we're looking for A to Z. Phoenix. Da, 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 da. Let's see, space, you have a digits. Ah, it's this guy. So it must be the negative number somewhere. You have a space. The first capture group slash D plus that's corresponding to 30 years. Everything dot star, that means can handle plus or minus. The last may potentially have a vertical line minus, may potentially have a minus because you may have a negative temperature. Let's see this guy. Why the you have a space? It's a single space. You have AK, you have multiple things until you hit 30 digits. Curious. Da, 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 da. Okay, let me pause the video for a bit and think what did I miss. Okay, let's restart the video a bit. So the previous stage with the regex, the whole idea in the regex to handle the issue turns out is a dollar sign in the end. Not 100% convinced with myself. It's probably just too. I feel like regex may go to the next line to do the data. So it's kind of maybe greedy, not greedy. Put a dollar sign and to say this is the string we want. That will be able to handle for both text. Let me just grab probably a bunch of data to just quickly show one thing for the case. Actually, in my regex column. Previously, either you have a question mark on top, or you do. Oh, I corrected better. So for those guys, if we add the dollar sign, I think to finish the string at the correct place as one single line, then it passed correctly what we intended. Now, I was recording second part, different part for the options to pass the data, but the video was unfortunately didn't save. Turns out the top way is not the best way to do things. So I quickly talk through the idea, but I wouldn't recommend the choice. We do very similar, some kind of regex expression as we did for the actual data. So my idea is to create 6 separate columns for the intended results. So you can see in the output from the data, we should get a 6 column. So the idea is in the next one, we can do union. Then we can do some kind of dynamic rename on the column headers. Let's just really to think make life easier for the month columns. The formula help seems a lot. It's really just to replace a space with a comma because all the data points is separated by comma. Not the best choice. I don't think it's the most dynamic. I would consider the option. Union things. So record ID one, the header is there. Further formatting to get rid of space in the mouse column. So we can do text to column. We can separate things on by comma. Because this is doing by 12 as manual. If you do have more generic data set with 30 column, 50 column, you don't want to always change this number by hand. That's why I don't think this is the best options. Dynamic rename, we're going to select every column. Now you can see on top for the group by column, I don't select anything because those is already the header we want. The only thing you need to replace is the months because those are the one from text column. So after that, we'll see we get our headers ready. The last selected to job. Let's show you a probably a better way to handle it. Let's copy those data. But here, I want to give it the data. Give it is always make life a bit easier for us. So we can look at the pattern we're looking for, try to capture stuff. What do you think you try to capture? /d, the digits. Or sometimes function 20, you're gonna get the dot special character to escape it, so /dot. You also might have negative in there, so because you have a negative temperature. Plus, to say your mode card. So we can see all the numbers for the temperature we get is here. We're gonna tokenize. So let's split the workflow. We're going for the month column. We try to get our data, but we're gonna tokenize instead. We're gonna tokenize into rows. Oops, not a dark column. There's the column. Now, for those things, at the moment, they're still sorted by order. So you have January, February, etc. So these are still. The only uncertainty is here is if you change the order of rows, you may have some issue. And the one above can keep the column as it is. You don't worry about change the order of column. There's one slight pitfall that may be issue. Once that's done, we want sort it. To me, it's always tiles number. You can use unique value. We're going to group by record ID. So that should be able to handle your 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just click record to show you the results of that. You can select additional group, but ID should suffice. So this is the 12 we're interested. Then the next batch, you'll be a record ID. So you don't necessarily need a record ID later. But it's always a good habit to keep things. You do have other, because you create a very standard 12 rows each batch. So you have other choices. Smart tile, you can do that as well. Tiny column, I think everything default is in fine. We just group by record ID. You'll see you should get the sequence number is similar 1 to 12. We don't care the tiles because we already have record ID. So you have multiple options here you can do. When you have a different row number for each group, maybe you want to think different options. Either way, let's continue. So sequence number. On the separate stuff, I did a quick demo to, you can always create a local table. Because the months into the date, the ordered ID. Try to add in as pretty much just a standard local table. You can do find and replace, or you can do just regular joins. I think either one works fine in this particular case. Mhm. So for the left anchor, we're looking for our sequence number. The right anchor, we're looking for record ID. When we're looking for things, we can actually drop other stuff. ID, we don't care. Download date, we don't need. Station, yes. Yes, we don't care. Months, I think at the moment, months is the value. So let's rename those guys. The value, annual, we don't care. Tile number, tile sequence we used. We don't need more. Record ID, we don't need. Field, that's basically months. And let's put a header. So you can, so you have a header, the key name here. Mhm. Okay. Value pivot. Yeah. So actually, keep say let's keep the tile sequence because you can see the join because nth engine is rearranged order data set. That's not what we want. We want to make sure when we pivot, the data is in the correct order. So sequence is probably needed. The next, let's sort. Make sure they're ready for pivoting. So we can sort by each station ID, station. Sequence we want ascending. So that should be more like the intended one we want. Good. Then it's long format, long to wide. Keep all the group pattern, the three columns. Header is header, value is value. Concat should be fun. You shouldn't expect duplication for each station ID. Uh, Station sequence number 12 shouldn't make sense unique enough. So pivot wide. And that is our column. The columns still have been annoying alphabet. I think they sort it alphabetically. The Alteryx does that. They don't know it's months, so they try to handle column as what I asked. You can still just do one more select in the end to handle your data. But these are data there. We're gonna get our three base column, the information, then the 12 months column with the data. Okay. So I'll post this video here. No, actually, I need to do table. Let me just remove that. Yeah, show the first part. How do you join a table? We can have reporting. You just drag the table tool. I keep everything default. We don't looking for any formatting. That reproduce the answer for part one first. Click on the table. Drag this wide. And that's what we get for our things. Maybe change the select, change the order, or you want to sort by station ID or sort by station name. Then those are the easier to perform. I'll do a second part of recording for part two of the video to answer the 4 questions. Okay.